Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel if you are new. Hello, my name is V. I post nail tutorials every Thursday and Sunday at 8:15 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your post notifications. For today's video, I'm bringing you guys a very informative video. I have been custom mixing colors for my clients since I started doing nails. As a beginner nail tech, you will not be able to purchase every single color in the books, and to be honest, I don't think I'll ever own every single color. So many brands are coming out with so many different shades of different colors that it really is impossible to keep up with that. So I'm sharing with you guys my methods of custom mixing colors in very small portions, which is nice because then you don't have to waste too much product. You will be using your products very efficiently and saving tons of money. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now let's get right into it. Heading right into today's video, I am starting off by using my Kiara Sky rechargeable e-file. I have her at about 4,000 RPMs. Along with that, I'm using my mandrel bit and my sanding band from Profil's Backstage. The sanding band is a medium grit. They are super fine as they're not the zebra sanding bands, so be aware of that. They're super fine, which I absolutely love. I'm just gently going over the natural nail and roughening up that surface, making sure that I am buffing off any shine. You want it to be nice and prepared for all of the acrylic application. So I'm going to be focusing on just buffing that off very gently. Once I'm done filing off the shine, I'm going in with my needle bit. This is from Amazon, and I'm gently going around and removing that cuticle area. I am making sure that I'm going nice and gentle around that area and just buffing off any skin that may have been left behind from the mandrel bit. This helps get nice and snug in there, which is very helpful. And next I'm going in with my cuticle ball bit from Amazon as well. It came in a pack with the one that I just used, and I absolutely love this for removing that skin. It gently buffs it away. It does not hurt. It will not harm yourself or your client, which is the best part of it all. And it just nicely smooths out that skin and removes any dead skin. So definitely recommend it if you guys do not like using a cuticle nipper, just like me. Once I'm done prepping the natural nail, I am going in with my Tammy Taylor peel and stick file and gently filing just any excess nail that I want removed. I don't like clipping them. I prefer filing them just because I'm so close to my skin. So I just gently file it and make sure that it's nice and round, nice and smooth. I don't like any growth at all whatsoever under my tips or my forms. So I always make sure that I do this step before doing my own nails. For today's video, I am actually going to be doing a tapered square sort of shape. I asked my members from the V Gang, shout out to them, they did vote on me doing tapered square versus coffin, so that is why I'm doing tapered square, which I actually really like tapered square on my nails, so I was really excited that they chose that. I'm going in with my Makartt tips for this step. I'm just applying them with my Young Nails brush on glue. Both products are linked in my Amazon storefront, so make sure you guys check that out. I have tons and tons of products that I absolutely love from Amazon. Best of it all, you can get it from Amazon Prime, so love that. I am just going in, making sure that I am adhering them properly. And now I'm going to be shaping them. So the only nail that I'm cutting is my thumbnail. If you are not new to my channel, you will know that I like to do my thumbnails a little bit shorter, sometimes a lot shorter, just because from day-to-day stuff, it helps me tremendously. From unbuckling my son's car seat to typing, it just makes more sense for me to have the thumbs shorter. So that's why I choose to make them shorter. For today's video, I actually didn't do them as short as I normally do, which I'm not mad at. I've been able to function properly regardless. I'm just going ahead and shaping that out with my peel and stick file and making sure that the tip is nice and squared. And for the rest of the nails, I am going to just be squaring off the tip and making sure that the sides are nice and flush to my natural nail. I don't want them to be too big. Just in case I did do it, I want to make sure that I focus on that. I am not going to be tapering them too much either because these are pretty skinny to start off with, so I'm just gently filing the sides very softly, going back and forth from side to side, making sure that I'm not filing one side or the other too much. And then once I'm content, I move on to the next. I do have a very in-depth video on how I shape nails, so if you guys are interested on how exactly I do all of the process, make sure to check that out. So now I'm taking my e-file once again. I just gently buffing that tip to the natural nail. I want to blend it out nicely because I want a base that is super smooth, and this is going to ensure that I don't have a terrible application process and that everything just flows perfectly without having to infill any ridges. Before I prime and all that good stuff, I'm going to be showing you guys how I custom make colors all the time. I do this for clients' requests, for myself, or anything like that. This is a brown that I actually mixed a while back, and I mixed a good amount of it because I really liked it, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that. So I'm taking this tiny little container from Amazon. It is linked in my Amazon storefront, scooping in the color Martha from Glam Glits. It's a really deep brown. Then I'm scooping some Totally Taupe in there. And then this one is Cindy from Glam Glits, and then just my black acrylic from Not Polish. I'm just going to be mixing that thoroughly. I'm basically scraping at the bottom of the container to make sure that everything gets blended out very well. If you have good powders, it's not going to make such a huge difference, but Glam Glits does tend to have certain colors that are very, very pigmented, and the pigment isn't thoroughly mixed, and I'll be able to show you guys what I mean once I'm applying the acrylic. So I'm going to swatch that right next to the color that I had already made, and you can see they're freaking almost identical. If you want to tweak it just a little bit, you can add your own twist to it, but this is how I like mixing my colors. So now I'm swatching Martha from Glam Glits, and then that one is called Heirloom, and then this is First Nude from Not Polish. I'm basically setting down a bunch of colors for my eyes so I can see exactly which ones I want to pair with what. So that last one was Totally Taupe from Glam Glits. And like I said, all the products will be linked in the video along with the description box. So I really like Totally Taupe to be my first color. And then I want a transition color from Totally Taupe to Heirloom. So I'm actually mixing both together to get the perfect transition color. So it's going to be a little bit darker than the lightest color and a little bit lighter than the in-between color. So I mixed it, and now I'm swatching it in between them, and I want it just to be a little bit lighter, so I'm adding just another scoop of Totally Taupe, thoroughly mixing that, swatching it again just to make sure that I like it. So I do this all the time, like I said, for my clients, and it helps not have to purchase every color in the world you can think of. So this is definitely a money saver and you get the most out of your products that way. So I'm just swatching all of the colors next to each other. And I'm making sure that I like how they transition from one color to the next. And as you can see, they look pretty freaking good. I think, at least. So then I felt like those two could be merged together and make the perfect transition. So I'm mixing those two together and seeing what that comes up with. So if you scratch that out, I was trying to block it. You can see how they're going to transition nicely. And now I'm good to go. So once I'm done mixing my colors, I'm going to prep my nails by using a lint-free wipe and some swipe, just cleansing that surface. And then I'm using Profix from Profiles. And this is my primer, just adding 2 coats of that on the natural nail, making sure that they are going to adhere very well. Side note, I did use this a while back and I did say that I was going to update you guys on how I liked it. I freaking love it. I have clients that have issues with lifting, like their hairstylists, so they are always in the water and they will have issues with lifting. They haven't had any at all, which blew my mind. I freaking love this already, so definitely recommend it if you guys are wanting to try a different primer out. Now, I did mention this step in another video as well. When you have clients, you definitely want to lay down a clear base just so that the nails don't get stained, and when they come back to change the color, it can be an easy process and you don't have to worry about overfiling the natural nail. I'm adding the smallest amount of clear acrylic onto my natural nail and then gently blending it down into the tip. All I want is to use that as a protection layer for my natural nail. So I figured this would be a perfect video to do that and show you guys exactly how I do it. And I don't push it all the way up into the cuticle because sometimes it can mess up your cuticle application when you go in with your next color. So I am leaving that tiny little portion of the nail without any product at this point. I'm going to be starting my acrylic application, and I wanted to mention that always be aware when you swatch colors on a napkin, it can make a huge difference on the skin. So I didn't really like how totally taupe looked on the napkin, but I knew once it was on my skin it was going to change color, so I was hoping that it looked good. And it's not the worst, but it's not my favorite either. And once I actually applied it, now that I'm wearing it, I really like the color. So I'm adding that color from Glam Glits on this nail, and I'm going to work my way to the darker shades onto my pinky nail. I'm going to be doing super simple nails for today's video. I've been dying to do this ombre effect in different shades of nude, so I'm so excited to be doing that. I'm doing my normal acrylic application and applying that onto all of my nails. I do want to talk about Glam Glits just a little bit because I feel like I haven't really talked about this brand on my channel. This is my OG. I think they will forever have a special place in my heart. This was the company and brand that I started off with when I got into doing nails. It was very inexpensive compared to most brands, and I figured I could make it work. So I got about 50 colors from their variety of colors because they have so many options. And I was able to start doing nails that way. And this is a perfect video to show you guys exactly how, to this day, I still use them. I still love them. And I love mixing colors for my own custom colors. So you definitely do not need a huge amount of product. I know I'm not one to say like you don't need the most, because I do have a ginormous stash of acrylics and nail art products, but that has definitely been accumulated throughout 4, almost 5 years. So always keep that in mind, that you don't have to start with a huge amount since the beginning. So always just work with what you have. I've explained it before. If you want, a darker color, add a little bit of black in there. If you want a lighter color, add a little bit of white. You can do so many different combinations with specific colors. So always keep that in mind. Definitely don't feel like you need to splurge on nail products. So getting back into the tutorial, this is exactly what I was talking about when I say some colors don't thoroughly mix. So the color Martha, which is the very deep brown color from Glam Glits, my specific container that I have has little bits of acrylic that weren't finely mixed into that powder. So all you have to do is add a little bit more monomer onto your brush and just blend that out until it disappears. Sometimes it can change the color a little bit, but to me, honestly, it doesn't bother me. I just go ahead and add a little bit more of that color over top, and it masks that just a little bit. So as you can see, you do have some splotchy areas, but once I'm finished with the nail, you can't really tell. All you gotta do is blend, 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 rub it out, and you will be good to go. Now I'm moving on to the darker shades. This is the one that I first mixed with you guys, and I'm just applying that near the center of the nail, blending it down towards the tip. Usual acrylic application, and making sure that I'm cleaning up the sides, of course. Typically I work with very thin layers of clear acrylic to save some product, so I am not focusing on the thickness of the nail at this point. All I want to do is make sure that I have a good opaque layer of that color on my nail. And I don't think I mentioned this, but I am using my Not Polish acrylic brush. It is a size 12 along with my Profil's Backstage monomer. Again, cuticle area, gently push it up and then blend it down into the existing acrylic. You can see they're very easy to work with. I definitely like them, and they are super pigmented and very, very opaque, so you can go over so many colors with these powders. Now I'm going in with Martha and blending her down towards the tip, making sure that my sides are nice and clean, and then adding any product where I feel I need more product. I'm going to be encapsulating these nails. I love how they look. The transition is super nice, so I'm pretty proud of the color combination that I used. I'm going in with my clear acrylic from Not Polish and just adding a layer of that over top of the surface. You definitely want to fully cover these nails because I feel like the more pigment it has in the powder, the less strength it has. So you want to add that strength and the extra thickness that you need, especially depending on the length of the nails. I actually recently just did a video on how thick the nails should be, so make sure you guys check that out if you guys are interested. I add a little bit of apex details in there and just all around acrylic application little tips and how I do it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this part off and let you guys watch since I've been babbling this whole video. Now that everything is nice and dry, I'm going back in with my e-file. I'm using the 5-in-1 bit from Kiara Sky, which is my deepest love, and I am gently filing the cuticle area and then going vertically up and down on the length of the nail. All I'm making sure is that I'm smoothing out any extra bumps and making sure that everything basically is nice and smooth. And I do have my e-file at about 8,000 to 9,000 RPMs at this step. Now I'm going in with my hand file and filing the sides, making sure that the shape is nice and perfect. And then I'm going to be gently filing over the surface of some nails, just because if I feel like I need to smooth anything out just a little bit further, I like to use my hand file for that. I have a lot more control over my hand file versus my e-file, so this is just a preferred method. If you can get it down right with the e-file, all power to you. I'm kind of jealous, so I'm just going in and making sure everything is nice and perfect at this point. Now I'm buffing the surface of the nail with my sponge buffer from Profix Backstage. Makes them super smooth, and I freaking love that. So I'm just gently going over all of the nails, and then I'm going to be top coating. Now I'm going to be cleansing the nails with my lint-free wipe and some swipe, both linked in my Amazon storefront. This just helps get rid of any dust and nasty stuff. You can absolutely wash your hands. I just prefer this method because I'm already right there in my chair and I don't have to get up. So I'm just cleaning them thoroughly, making sure I'm getting rid of all of the dust. I'm going in with my not polished matted for this set. I feel like you guys hate me already for doing so much matte nails, but surprise, surprise, I actually did shiny on the other hand, so you guys can see the huge difference that the top coat makes with the colors. So I'm applying this with a very thin layer thoroughly onto the nails, and you do want to make sure you are curing in the light. I like to cure in the light for 2 minutes just to be safe and make sure everything is super cured.
Take it back to when nobody used to know me. Let's tell them I was just chilling with my homies. Now that we're popping, everybody is talking. This is for my day ones. Don't forget the ones that made ya. Deep sauce sweating out flavor.
Once we are out of the light, I am going in with my cuticle oil from Profil's Backstage. I rave about this all the time, but it smells so good and it sinks right into your skin. So I'm just massaging that, making sure everything is nice and hydrated. And then of course I'm applying that on my right hand as well. Like I said, I did shiny on this one, and it's definitely a lot easier to apply on the shiny nails because it'll leave like a little shiny cast on that mat, and then you have to wipe it off, which is no fun. That basically concludes today's video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Which one's your guys' favorite, matte or shiny? Let me know down below. I will see you guys next time.
This is